little bit of an update on Oscar today. I think I'm done tearing stuff out of this thing. Some significant cleaning, obviously. Interior's completely out. Well, the seats and the carpet out. Carpet's dyed and ready to go back in. It's not perfect, but better than it was significantly. This thing was just filthy, and it's not anymore, thank goodness. Tore even some of the dash apart, cleaned out the evaporator, pulled the blower motor out, cleaned the evaporator out as best I could get to it. Wasn't ideal, but did some cleaning there. I am going to pull the rear one out and just take a peek in there before I put that back together, and then I'm going to see about rebuilding those vent window motors right quick while I've got it all apart. I think the driver's side works, the passenger side doesn't. That happened on my excursion, a nice excursion about a year ago. I pulled those apart and rebuilt them. They work like a champ. I've got to address this seat belt. This seat belt is gorked. Not sure what happened to it, but it's all twisted. It's obviously been compromised, so would never put someone in that seat and go down the highway or anything like that. The fireman in me wouldn't allow that without replacing it, but that's not even remotely on the to-do list at this point. Planning on by tomorrow having this thing back together, seats in, interior in. The IDM came back from repair. $175 to fix it. The company did great. They're out of Illinois. I assume that it works. I haven't plugged it in yet. They said it does. Pretty, quick turnaround. Took about 2 weeks or something like that. No big deal. The fender liner is over here, so I'm going to pull that left front wheel off either today or tomorrow and get that IDM swapped out with my buddy's loaner and put mine back in and get that fender liner put back together, get that all back in one piece. And got a couple other little things I'm going to work on. I worked on this door panel. I'm going to put that back together. I need to work on the passenger front one. It's not in there right. It's flopping around. And then I'm going to park in this thing for the most part. So we'll update when get some of the interior stuff back in, and we'll see how that black looks compared to the tan. We'll check that out a little bit. Haven't done an update on Oscar in a while. It is back together. It is on the road. I've driven it probably 250 miles or something. Zero issues. Even towed a trailer with it once. Plan has kind of changed a little bit with this thing. Originally just parts, and then I wanted to get it running so I could move it, which was a step in the right direction. Still running perfect. I got my IDM back from the company in Illinois, $175 round trip. Unplugged the loaner, plugged mine in, hooked the batteries back up, fired right up, runs perfect. Can't ask for more than that. I've got to get that loaner back to a buddy of mine, and I'm on the hunt for a spare. Now I got 3 of these things, so never know, I might need to do some testing myself one day. So seats are awful, of course. I've got some Walmart seat covers in there. That's on the to-do list potentially today. Slap those on there. This is $60 for the front 2. The back I'm not going to worry about. So the plan has changed with this thing a bit. I've got a buddy that might be settling his dad's estate in Florida, and I offered to help, and he's taken me up on that, which is fine, and might be taking the back seat out of this thing, which obviously that'll come out, and then these will fold down, and loading a bunch of crap in here and renting or buying a box trailer and hauling it from Florida back to Texas for him. Not real sure exactly when that's going to happen, probably sometime soonish. Trying to put quite a few miles on it before then and make sure nothing's going to be giving me issues on the road. So that has kind of changed the plan with this. I totally would take my pristine one, but honestly, I'm scared for it to be stolen. if I have to leave it somewhere. I think it'd be a lot less likely with this thing. And it's unfortunately would be gone, but mine is not replaceable. It's too babied. So I bought some takeoff wheels and tires from a guy's 2023. They were 50th week of 22 productions, had like 1,000 miles on them. I don't like the whole positive offset sucked in kind of look, but I also, these are 18s, and I could not justify spending $1,600 to $2,000 on a set of 16-inch wheels for the original wheels. $1,600 to $2,000 for a new set of tires for the 16-inch wheels that it came with on a truck that I bought super cheap. The other thought on this is if and when I convert, who knows, this or one of those, that or my F-250 in there, to coil springs one day, which rolling chassis is sitting out there in the carport. I've got a set of 18-inch wheels that I would need for that anyway, because you can't put 16s like my originals are. They won't clear the brakes. So I had to get the exhaust cut off. Some muffler shop, they did a decent job, I guess. That tailpipe, they had backed into something and it was kinked shut. I couldn't even put my 4 fingers through the exhaust. That's all the airflow that was getting out of there. So that's definitely causing increased EGTs and hurting power and mileage and all that stuff. So don't like that. So I got that cut off and replaced the other day. It was like $60 or something. Oh, okay, fine. I went and had some keys made. I had one key for the truck, for the Excursion, that was really worn down quite a bit. And I had to fiddle with the ignition most of the time, probably, I don't know, 50% or more of the time, just to get it to turn. And I thought, and the guy said I was right, the key itself was just worn down to, you know, real smooth. And it's not pushing on those wafers, he called them, inside the lock cylinder. He thought my wafers were probably messed up. We pulled the lock cylinder and he pulled it all apart and went through it. And I mean, young kid, and he's, you know, super knowledgeable on all that stuff. Super great. I also couldn't even get the driver's door. I could get it to lock, but I couldn't get it to unlock most of the time. I really had to fiddle with it. So he reused the chip in my only key I had and put in another blank. And then, so I have that key I'm gonna hide somewhere. And then he got me 2 new, they're not Ford keys, obviously, there's some aftermarket thing, 2 new of these, programmed them. The ignition turns perfectly now, the doors unlock perfectly. I had the factory remotes from my 99 F-250, and I've got keyless entry now. Fancy stuff. What else have I got? Oh, I don't remember what I was doing. I pulled the rear brakes apart. I don't remember my original plan for going through that. I pulled the wheels off. The wheels were awful. I think I showed those before, and I cleaned them up with a magic eraser thing, and they're totally better. They're all corroded and stuff, unfortunately. But the right rear rotor had been on the metal in the past, obviously, and these things don't have wear indicators on the pads, and so the wear indicator is grinding. Well, these has had those mud grips on there before, and you probably couldn't hear rocks rolling around the rear end with those mud grips on there. So the outside of the right rear rotor was still thick, like it's supposed to be. The inside of the right rear rotor was about maybe a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch thick. I mean, it was super, like, paper thin. And they'd replaced the pads, but they just threw pads on it and shipped it, and the pad was all chewed up on the inside. The left rear, the guide pins were frozen, and the inside pad was about 1/16 of an inch thick. So again, you know, trying to do this on the cheap. I didn't want to buy rotors and pads and all that shit for, you know, cheap old beater that I'm trying to get going. So a buddy of mine had sold his axles off of his Excursion after a coil spring swap to another buddy of ours. And I asked him if and when he ever builds those axles. He has a 92 crew cab dually. I think he's going to put all that suspension under. It ought to be kind of a cool project. What he's going to do with the brakes. And he's like, because I know how he is, he's going to go with all new everything. So I offered to buy, and he ended up just giving me the rear rotors and the pads, and then I actually got the front pads from him also. The two-wheel drive rotor is different than four-wheel drive, but the pad's the same. So the front pads were So put two rear rotors and way better pads than what I had, and way better rotor than what I had. Had to beat these things off of there. They were frozen to the hub pretty bad. It was rusted. And this right rear one that was paper thin, as I'm pounding on it with a little 3-pound sledge to get it to break loose, there's chunks of rotor just flying off. I mean, like chunks as big as my thumb were breaking off of the rotor. That's how thin that rotor was. So that was obviously totally unsafe. But I noticed the left rear caliper is on upside down, so the bleeder's on the bottom. That's not great. But I'm going to, I've got another to-do list. I'm going to flush the brakes out of a buddy's shop. He's got the pressure bleeder thing, so I should be able to just get that flushed out of there, and it should be okay, I guess, for now. Not a huge deal. So, fixing to give it a bath. Actually drove it in the rain the other day. Tires were great. ABS tested out fine. I actually checked that in the rain just out of curiosity. Kicked in just like it's supposed to. I have some headlights that I got for nothing from a buddy. Obviously this is toast. These are some China garbage. I can't see anything out of that passenger one. It's awful. And then this driver's side one is pointed about this far from the truck on high beam at the ground, because it's all broken and jacked up. It's got obviously not the right stuff holding it on there. So I'm going to put those OEM headlights in. They are pretty clouded up, or excuse me, were pretty clouded up. I took it to Walmart. My local Walmart had a thing for 26 bucks. They polished them out and put Cerakote on them. Knock yourself out, buddy. For 26 bucks is not worth my time to jack with that. So I took them over there loose, and some nice young kid took care of it and knocked it out. And I'm going to put those in. And so that's on the to-do list before the trip, obviously. And I'm going to drop the fuel tank. I'm going to use a buddy's shop and his lift to drop the fuel tank out of this thing. I know the pickup foot's got to be broken off. It didn't look like, I don't see any evidence that the fuel tank's ever been out of this thing. So I've got a new OEM foot, and I'm going to clean the screens out and replace the foot before the trip. I got oil for the rear end. The cover's leaking a little bit. Pinion seal's not leaking, believe it or not. So while I've got it up on the lift, I'm going to service the rear end in it. Probably never been done. I haven't even bothered to check it. I can't get under the thing. I'm too big and fat. And it's way too low. Can't get that's another reason to do it on the lift. If you've never had the fuel tank out of one of these things, it's 44 gallons. It is absolutely massive. And you can't get the fuel tank out from underneath the truck with the truck on the ground. You have to lift the truck up to get the fuel tank out from underneath there. It won't clear the hitch. So that was on my 4-wheel drive. So this being 2-wheel drive is even closer to the ground. So that's going to be even worse. So on the lift we are. And so on the to-do list before the trip, headlights, which I have nothing involved in dollar-wise, which is fantastic. Drop the fuel tank, service the rear end. AC's cold. It's already like 99 degrees here in South Texas today. It's not even mid-May yet. Heat's coming, so AC is super important. The left front ball joint, good Lord. They put, I had it in a front end shop. I had them look at it. It cost me a little bit to get the alignment done, but I wanted to get it checked since I put new knee tires on there. The left front ball joint was extremely loose in there. The nut was loose. I've never worked on a ball joint on a 2-wheel drive. He put 2 full turns on the nut. It was amazing. And it's probably wallowed out the hole, and I guess that's the I-beam that's under there. So the conical hole that the ball joint sits into the ball joint and the knuckle are below, and then the conical shaped hole in the I-beam where it comes out, and there's an upper and a lower. I guess the lower is a ball joint, the upper is a kingpin. I'm not too familiar. I guess they're both ball joints. Anyway, that hole is probably walled out a little bit, but it had a half an inch of play in it before. Oh my gosh, it was all over the place. Tightened it up, super solid. The passenger ball joint has got like a barely even noticeable amount of play in it. The guy was like, yeah, you can replace it, but for what you're doing with this thing, it's not worth it. So I'm gonna go with his suggestion. It drives tremendously better. Goes straight down the road, steering wheel straight, amazing. I'm gonna tighten up the gearbox, maybe just a hair. I've done that in the past and it hasn't turned out so well. He said that he has done them before. This is the front end guy. He said go like a quarter of a turn and then put it back together and just leave it and see how that does. Like drive it for a couple of days. I'm gonna flush the coolant out. It's not really, it's got some kind of antifreeze type kind of stuff in it. Probably gonna flush it out and just put water in it, honestly. I'll get it changed out before winter gets here, which 6 months for that. While I've got that off, I'm gonna take this hose off, probably just keep the hose. It's touching the alternator bracket, maybe just barely. Not really care for that, so I'm just gonna pull it off down there and shave a bit off of the hose and then put it down there tighter, just to get that away from that bracket. Not much else. It's doing great, to be honest with you. I gotta fix the stupid door ajar light. I don't know which door is acting up. It's probably the rear hatch. The dome lights will time out and turn off after 10 minutes or whatever, which is fine. But the other day I came home and they were on. They'd probably been on for 2 days. So I disconnected the batteries and hooked the charger up to the batteries just to let it sit on their little trickle charger. So I gotta address that. I know those are going to be a pain in the ass. So anyway, just an update on this thing. I'm fixing to give it a bath. There is a couple of spots of rust on the roof that I do want to address, like that. There's a couple right across there too. There's one there. Don't expect this thing to ever be pristine, obviously, but I was going to hit those with a wire wheel and put some of that rust preventative, or rust, what is it called? Reformer? Rust reformer crap on there. I don't want it rusting through, obviously. That would be shitty if it was leaking inside or something. I've already run almost a full tank of diesel through it. I don't know, about half a tank of diesel through it, I guess. Had about half a tank. Put some seafoam through that one, and then filled it up again. After that one was, again, down to a quarter tank, because I can't trust this thing, because I know the pickup foot's broke off. Gotta be. So I don't trust it below a quarter tank. So I guess I burned about a quarter tank of diesel out of that first tank, and then filled it up, and I dumped some 2-stroke outboard oil in that tank, and hopefully I'll be dropping that tank and replacing that foot and all that stuff on that tank of fuel, and then I can run it all the way down to empty-ish, and get a full tank of diesel through it. Probably get another tank or so through it before we make the Florida trip, and hopefully no drama. That would be amazing. I know the little overhead computer is not the most accurate thing in the world, but said I was getting 18.9 miles to the gallon the other day. I haven't even reset it. I'll reset once I get the pickup foot replaced in the tank, I'll reset the trip meter and get an accurate measurement on that. My four-wheel drive, significantly heavier, probably 1,000 pounds heavier, I would say. Front axle, transfer case, drive shaft, fluids, bigger tires, all that business. That one's got full replacements front and rear, so probably with all that, probably 1,500 pounds or more heavier. I've gone 800 miles on a tank on that thing, so I should expect at least that out of this guy. I wiped everything down inside with some Armor All kind of stuff today. That plastic all was super dry. It's been brutalized. Took that cup holder thing all apart. I got to put that back in together here in a minute. It was gross, all kinds of smooth in there. Just had a couple screws. That thing came right out. On the hunt for a Driver's side rear seat belt. That thing is toast. I thought I had one from a parts truck recently, and the truck went bye-bye. I actually got my rear hatch off of it, and I could have, if I'd known, I could have, would have, should have got that seat belt, but I didn't know at the time. That rear cubby hole thing is in the garage. I gotta fix the hinge on it. It's broken. Got the lid, but I figured I'd just replace it with some kind of steel hinge from Home Depot or something, just to have it's got a cigarette lighter outlet in there, and just a place to put some crap. This is the mat that came in it that was covered in oil and schmoo. Cleaned it up. It's better than no mat at all. It's all stained and stuff. It's not, there's nothing coming off of it. It's impregnated in there. I've cleaned the crap out of it. Pressure washer and all that stuff. Simple green. Good enough. The spare is 21 years old. I definitely will be getting a newer spare before we go to Florida. That is a wheel pop for sure. I would, use it in an emergency obviously today, but I wouldn't want to go too far, too fast in it. That's for sure. It's one of those Fearstone Steel Tex R4S's that used to blow up all the time years ago. So I had one of my Excursion replaced under that recall 20 years ago almost. And that's the spare that's still in it. So my spare's not far behind this one actually. Anyway, just an update on this guy. Coming along great. I don't foresee any problems on the road. Something can always rear its head. Of course, hopefully it's something simple I can fix, and I'm not 1,500, 2,000 miles from home and in a pinch. But 7.3s being what they are, I think it'll be just fine. Catch you on the next one. Morning update on Oscar today. Finally had a few minutes to take care of some things. I've got wheel centers put on those wheels that I picked up. So these are not the wheel centers that came with these wheels. These are my 2000 wheel covers. The 2000 wheel covers, I had all four of them, and being two-wheel drive, they are closed cap. There's no cutout for the lockout, like on a four-wheel drive. So all of the four-wheel drive ones, it's two closed ones and two open ones, and I didn't think that looked as good as the closed ones. These wheels are not my number one choice, but they're doing just fine. So I tried to see if the 2000 wheel center covers would fit on the 2023 wheels. They fit right on there. Pulled on as hard as I could, wouldn't come off. Hopefully they'll be staying. Was able to get a pry bar and pop them off carefully without damaging the wheel any. So doesn't look too bad, especially not for something I already had. I don't know if I mentioned the other day, I got that exhaust straightened out. It was kinked. The pipe, they had backed into something or been hit or whatever. The pipe was all the way up here, facing out this way, and back here, close to the fuel tank, it had a kink that was, it barely fit. The muffler shop cut it off, barely fit my fingers through there. So definitely restricting some exhaust flow. Not the most ideal thing. I mean, if this was a full-blown crazy project, I'd just put a exhaust system on it or something, but that was $60 to just unkink that and weld on a couple elbows and done. So much better. One thing I wanted to update on today, I am putting some seat covers on that are going to be either Walmart jobs or not perfect by any stretch, like this whole thing is, but this is, it's pleather, not leather, of course, synthetic stuff. This is way better than that. That's the worst seat, driver's seat, gets the most abuse, obviously. This one wasn't much better, just awful, and feels gross, and every time you're getting in and out, there's little pieces of foam popping off over there, and just disgusting. Now the back seat is still pretty jacked up. I don't think I'm going to do anything with this for right now. I mean, this is obviously a giant hole. they're toast. But it's just not something I'm willing to put the kind of money into to fix all this. The seat covers for the front were $60 at Walmart, cheapos. Got a little pocket here. These are made for the kind of seat that has the separate seat headrest that telescopes up and down. Comes like this, actually, something more like this. My car has, one of my commuter cars has some like this. So this piece stops here because this is all one piece headrest. So it doesn't fit on there great, but that's okay. Night and day better than what it was. I did take the armrest off in order to get this down. This piece comes all the way down to here. And just cut out some holes. I'm fixing to put the armrest back on. But one thing I was looking at, and I think I'm going to try, so the original armrest, this is the top position, and that's where somebody's elbow's been sitting on the vinyl for 25 years, and it's all jacked up. They're not horrible, but not great either. And don't want to spend the money to get some new ones. So what I was going to do is see if I can pop the covers off of these and just flip them upside down. I think I should, because like, just not the foam and the mechanism, the steel or anything, but put that part back where it originally came from. But if this armrest cover was over there, then it's no holes in it, and the holes will be on the bottom. Last another 25 years, right? We'll see. I'm going to try that here in a minute. Got to take the armrest off anyway to get that seat cover on. I'm going to try and address a couple other things today. Probably going to change the headlights out. I'll show you those here in a minute. They are hideous. I gave this thing a bath with some Armor All type stuff, like protectant stuff, the other day. Some of this plastic was just so dried out. It was just, it's already brittle in lots of places and sitting outside its whole life. But it did help a lot. I'm not a big fan of these carpeted dash mats, but I'm going to probably put that back on just because it's going to protect the dash. We'll take a closer look at the headlight situation later. These are some made in China garbage that somebody put on here. This is cheap junk. This nice hole. It's great. Bulbs actually still work, believe it or not. But I've got some OEM takeoffs that I had cleaned up at Walmart for $26. That's totally worth it. Put those on here shortly. And the other thing I'm going to see if I can address today is the stupid dome light staying on all the time. I came out the other day and found this thing. It had been sitting for close to 2 days and the stupid dome lights were on. And I didn't try it. I'm assuming the batteries were probably pretty weak. It's 10 bulbs, 8 bulbs, whatever it is, running boards and back and dome lights and doors and all that shit's on. I'm sure the batteries were suffering at that point, so I just disconnected them and put charger on it and left. I had to go to work. And when I hooked it all back up, it started fine. And the other thing I gotta look for, I think I have one somewhere, just a plain Jane factory mirror. That's the LCD mirror. They all crap out. My nice Excursion years ago dripped some kind of black goo out. It got had a windshield visor in, and then it dripped, and a little bit got on the dash, and I was able to get it off of there, but it's still on the visor to this day, the little sunshade thing. And it does all that auto tint. Let's just have a mirror. Super simple. Anyway, when I get this other seat cover on and try to flip those armrest covers, and I'll give you a shot of it after that. Figured I would show this armrest removal. It's a bit of a fight. It's not horrible, but so we can do it without getting any kind of damage. So this, there is an elastic back in here. It's a little bit hard to get started, but the goal would be to get this vinyl stretched around here using this elastic perk and get access to the bolt. There's a T50 bolt that's up in here. I probably hadn't Haven't seen the light of day in 25 years. So there is a T50 right here. Oh, my Lanta. And this bolt is quite long-winded. Looking at the one on the other side, it's a good inch of thread. And so there's a bolt hole, and then there's a stop pin, if you will, I guess. And I'm assuming there's some kind of, haven't looked at it that close, but there's a metal piece in the armrest that rests up against that stop pin. I'll show you that here in just a second. But I got to take this off anyway to put my Walmart seat covers on there, and I figured I'd try to swap the vinyl back from left to right and see if I can get that cracked part that's on the top currently, get that at least put on the bottom. Keep from, doesn't feel great on your elbow, pinches you every now and then. That's always lovely. So there's that bolt, pretty long-winded. And so here's that stop pin. Oh yeah, you can see a little witness mark there. That's hitting right here. So, oh yeah, on this shelf here. So here's your pivot, and then this is where that's resting to keep your armrest from going too far down on the top part right here. Anyway, I'm gonna try to switch those vinyl covers and get the driver's side seat cover, and I'll give you a update after that, because definitely gonna need both hands doing that business. It's not a hold the camera thing. I kind of cut out the seat cover about ish like that one is. That's the passenger side. I already got it on there. I need to cut it out a little bit more. We'll see. I mentioned I wasn't going to do this holding the camera, but with that little tripod mount, we'll see if that'll make this visible-ish. If anyone's interested. So this is more info on Project Oscar here. So this is driver's seat is hideous. Just want to see about throwing these guys on there. So these are just some cheapo covers that I got off Walmart. And let's see how this ends up here. So I did the passenger side already. Wasn't too bad. Let's see how the driver's side fares. And of course, you know, with these cheapo covers like this, the key is going to be how well they stay. And, time will tell with that. It's got some little cheap plastic hooks under here. Just finding somewhere to hook it underneath the seat. I don't expect that these are going to last too terribly long, to be honest with you. But when that day comes, zip tie. Get us back in business. There's the driver's seat in power has a lot more stuff under it than the passenger side did. Wiring and motors and whatnot seem to be a little more in the way under here, so it's fighting me a little bit. Just trying to find, I got the side closer to the center console, but pretty quick and easy, but this out port will just fight me for some reason. Stand by one. Okay. Shed a little light on the subject and see what's going on. So, just trying to get this position. There's a little buckle on these. It's going to go through the butt and the back part, and then another buckle is going to come around and hook somewhere ish under the corner of the seat, and then it's hooked back to itself. And again, these things aren't perfect. way better than what we had. And if some things transpire here in the next couple of weeks that are developing, I might be taking this thing on a road trip, believe it or not. Pretty long one. Definitely don't want to be sitting on those nasty ass seats the whole time. So let's set this up, move this forward a bit. If this is going to block y'all's view or not. Jump the camera right quick. So this elastic stuff, not the greatest, but the goal is going to be to go underneath here somewhere, and then the corresponding piece that's coming through where the butt and the back meet, I'm going to pull the seat tighter, pull the seat cover tighter towards the crack there, and then just fasten these to hold it in place. Probably try to sit gingerly, if you will. I'm going to get in and out, try not to move it around. And I'm going to set you guys down for a minute. All right, got that butt piece somewhat in place. Tell how cheap these things are. Got some grease from underneath the seat a little bit on my hand, and it already looks like it's stained them. They're gonna be not tan for much longer, but that's okay. So this one is just like a sleeve kind of situation. Covering up all this nonsense would be great. For now, it's got these little plastic things that go through where the butt and the back meet, and it's designed to just slide through there and then turn and just not pull through. All this elastic stuff is cheap. Hopefully it'll last a few years. Do what I'm looking for it to do. And these have that third piece for the telescoping headrest, which these seats are all one piece. They don't fit, but it's what they had and get the job done. Run into our bolt and stud over here for armrest. We're gonna get past that. Velcro nonsense I'm running up here. Wafer things are just going to slide through. Turn 90 degrees there on the back side. The seats weren't all torn up. This will be a lot easier to fish through there. Cut that off. Pieces of the factory leather that are just dry and brittle and have been torn for many years, and I cut a few pieces off already. Stuff's almost like plastic. It's just crispy. Feels disgusting. A little bit of, I probably got 200 miles or something like that on this thing since I got it on the road, and sitting in these seats is not pleasant. So hopefully this is going to make that significantly better. So there's the back part on, and that other third piece going up here, it's not great, but otherwise it would look like this, and that looks more silly, if you ask me, than that other piece stuck on there. So I'll be sticking it on there. So these guys here, phone cooperate. Again, cheap plastic hooks. Just gonna find somewhere up underneath to hook these guys. And hold it in place. That might be something that over time has to be adjusted, repositioned, whatever you want to call it, because this elastic is super cheap. South Texas heat, I'm sure, is going to affect how well this elastic holds over time. Okay. Get the other one done, and then I'm going to see about switching these armrest pieces. Hey, bleeding. Flipping the vinyls around on those and get the armrest reinstalled, and it's done. We'll see how that goes. Give you an update when get it all finished. I'm sure this is not the greatest entertainment here. All right, so here's the driver's side seat cover, or armrest cover. It's got quite a few cracks and things in it. Not bad. I've seen some way worse. And I think I'm gonna just try to swap these guys so I can put that one on this one upside down and get fresh meat. This will be up on the passenger side after switch them, if that works like I think it's going to. Big ass bolt that retains this onto the seat. One of the videos that I watched on this briefly online said that this was such a fight just to cut it off. And when you put on a new one, I don't have a new one. Here. Too bad so far, but definitely doesn't just pop right off. One of the videos did mention also, and I'll probably do this to reinstall it. They mentioned putting a vegetable bag over the foam to reduce the friction so it would slip on there a lot easier. I don't have a vegetable bag, but I'm sure I got a grocery sack or something like that, and you just leave it in there. Once it's in there, it'll be coming out. Trying to do this without tearing the foam too. It's a 25-year-old foam, a little bit brittle. There it's on there. There we go. Okay. So I was curious. So there is a little bit of foam padding on the top originally, same thing on the bottom. So it should be synonymous. Must be the right word. So I'll put this one on that one cover and that cover on this one and put it back together. Foam's actually still in decent shape. Got some crap in there. I'll get the air compressor and blow that out in a minute. And get these put back together. suck to do this. Put them all back the way they originally came. Yeah, so that'll be the driver's side, and then that will be the passenger side, and that'll be fresh vinyl up. We'll soak them with some good protected stuff. Put them back on there. Catch you in a minute. All right, Walmart bag. See what we do to put this back together. See much of a fight this puts up. So make sure that our inside part is lined up properly. Oh man, Walmart bag makes a huge difference. We're just gonna cut all that excess off. Be a lot simpler. Wouldn't think that that'll be any kind of crinkly noises or anything coming from inside the armrest. Maybe. Hopefully not. Definitely making a mess in here. Time for a shop vac treatment here after all this is over. So we're going to leave this here. Can't hear anything. That's good. Gonna leave this pulled back so we can get access to the bolt to reinstall this thing, put it back on, flip this around, and that's it. Nice. That tip I saw online about using the grocery sack is definitely a big help. I'll blow all this crap out of here right quick, get all this dirt out of this thing real quick. One sec. Alright. Bit of compressed air, blow all the junk out of there. Video did this, and it just mentioned reducing the friction, which obviously it did. Amazing job of assisting with that. That sucker goes right in there. Cut all this excess out of here again. I think I'll have any issues with any of this getting caught up in any of that stop pin mechanism or anything like that. It's not really a moving part, it's just a stud that this piece of metal in the armrest frame rests on. It's not like there's a hinge in there or anything like that to get jammed up. Alright, these are ready to go back on. Alright, this is the stop pin, and then the bolt hole will be down here on our covers. A little bit of surgery on this. This is all going to be covered, so it doesn't have to be anything too pretty. Shouldn't cause any fraying or anything like that, I wouldn't think. And I'm just poking with my finger to try and find that bolt hole. A little cross cut there. Trim all this excess out of here. There we go. That should do it. So again, this is our original driver's side bracket and foam with our passenger side cover on there that I flipped upside down. This was passenger side cover up before, sitting over here, cracked up, 25 years of wear, and just flipped the cover over, and now we got no holes. And we'll put our long-winded bolt back in there. Impact driver for this, but get it started at least manually. You don't cross thread anything or any of that kind of business. Let me go grab an impact. Okay. We'll just stick those videos together. This should speed this process up quite a bit. Bolt is pretty long-winded, so I'm sure that has to do with potential for some significant weight to be put on that thing. So, back in business. Now, probably. There we go. Still got to put the top piece on like that over there. Doesn't fit great. So this will end up being our much improved driver's seat area. And passengers, oh my gosh, it's night and day. Wow. There's no padding in these, they're just slip covers, pretty thin, but that it's not poking me with that folded over, dried up, you know, brittle pieces of leather and pleather that are 25 years old and nasty, and then all the foam sticking to me and all that. Totally better night and day. And then look at that, no holes. Pretty nice. All right, I'm gonna get this rest one put back together and we'll give you a shot real quick when it's done. All right, seat covers are in. Not super happy about this part. It's got like some extra slack up here. We'll see how long that lasts. I don't know. I kind of want to pop off a little bit. Might be a pain in the ass. But this is tons better than the holy ones that were there before. Got our flipped over armrest covers, looking much better. Gave it a quick vacuum. I would say, for me, interior is pretty much done. The factory rear audio control thing, it had the in console 6-disc changer, took all that out. None of that stuff works anymore. They've hacked into the wiring and stuff in the dash, unfortunately. Somebody has. So took all that nonsense out, just put a plate on it, covered it up. Same thing with the cigarette lighter. It was all jacked up and broken and hanging out loose. I did add the cigarette lighter plug down here. That's already wired in and hot. It's on a fuse up under the hood to a hot terminal up there by the fuse box. This is not great, but do for now. I would say interior is done. I still need to fix that lid on that thing. I just need to get some kind of simple hinge to a little storage cubby that's back there. The lid's broken off. I have the lid, but just need to rig up a hinge on it. Somebody got rough with it and broke it, obviously. One other kind of sort of interior thing I might try to knock out today is the roof is dented in. I don't know if you can really tell from the video, but it's somebody stood up here or something probably. And I've tried to push inside. I don't know if it's double walled or what, but just try and pop that out. I wouldn't want this to hold water. I don't know that it would. It might, but I'm probably going to pull the overhead console out. I did once before briefly, but pull that out again and see if I can give that a push or two and pop that roof out. And then one other thing I might try to get to today, and I think I showed them once before, these there's like 4 or 5 rust spots. That roof rack that they had up here was rubbing on. I'll just take a wire wheel to those and put some rust stop stuff I've got to it. I don't know if I mentioned the other day, I gave this thing a bath. It's actual like first bath, other than just a quick rinse with a pressure washer. It's green. Looks significantly better. I took a magic eraser to the bumpers. They were super, I don't know what that was, just 25 years of schmoo on there. They were real cloudy and you know, like a milky looking stuff on there. Shined up amazing. As good as this thing's gonna get. This grill guard thing I'm not too crazy about, but got a lot of deer around here. If I smack a deer with this thing, hopefully not, but maybe that'll save busting the grill and stuff out of it. I got liability insurance only on it, so insurance wouldn't cover anything. I do need to fix a weld on this. This was busted. I tacked that back together, nothing pretty, and shot some silverish paint that I had on it. I need to do the same thing with this one right here. This is busted. I'll put a tack weld or two on that. Peel that rubber off and weld that real quick. And it originally had some kind of a piece here that would make it significantly stronger. I don't know if I'll get around to that or not. Got my classic auto plates, vanity plates. Those don't cost any more in Texas. There is an antique auto plate also, and that has all kinds of rules and restrictions on where you can drive and what you can do, and I didn't want to deal with any of that. I'll go when and where I want. I might also try to get to the rear washer squirter today. That's not working on the rear wiper. Wiper works fine, but squirter doesn't work. It might just be plugged up. This is this is a different truck's rear hatch, which I think is actually green, like mine. So, bonus on that. Yeah, it's green. Thought it was black, but they've got some kind of primer, cheap bed liner kind of nonsense on there somewhere. So with the squirter, there might be some kind of something plugged up back here or disconnected. There's a separate pump motor for that. I don't remember how that's all set up. I'll have to look into that. I think it's all in the same pump, but there's like a valve. I can't remember what the heck it does. I have to look that up. Anyway, coming along nicely. I'm going to tackle the headlight and turn signal situation here next, I think, because I've driven this thing to work a few times and I need to drive it some more, put some more miles on it, and I can't see squat out of this thing. This one might as well be a AA flashlight, and then this one, it's all broken and it's pointing like 20 feet in front of the truck on high beam. It's awful. It's not safe. So I'm gonna work on that here next.